At one point in the choreography, I'd actually put a little homage to season 1's dance, and they clocked it and they're like, nope, cut it. We didn't even want it.
Now that's what I call a thrilling climax.
I'd worked with Tim and actually Miles and Al before, so I'm familiar with the way that they work and their, brilliant aesthetic and that collaboration. And I sort of said, had a meeting. I was like, this is what I understand from the script. What are you thinking? Tim's biggest nod was, can't be Broadway. And then Tim and Miles and Al really wanted me to ignore season 1's dance. Don't think about it, don't consider it. At one point in the choreography, I'd actually put a little homage to it, and they clocked it and they're like, nope, cut it. We didn't even want it. So that was the real two things that I had to go off. Then when I went into the studio, I obviously had the music, I had the characters and thinking about how would they move. I had the script, the reason for why the dance exists, and obviously, the generic Tim and Wednesday aesthetic. And they were the sort of ingredients and points that I ran with to build it. I jumped in a studio with a few dancers that I collaborate with frequently. I actually got videos of Emma and Evie dancing separately. I asked them to send me something that they are proud of, to just see the level of their dancing, and they are incredible. I then sort of had the music, and it started to just figure out the tone of that piece of music and the beat and the structure, then sort of filtering it with how would Emma move, and then how would Agnes move. There's this thing that I do sort of for Tim's worlds, everything's off kilter. So you'll never see someone standing straight. The head will be just slightly off, or their shoulders will be up a bit higher. It's just making it a little bit more quirky and weird and wonderful. Once we'd built initial tone of the choreography and the steps, I filmed it and presented it to Tim and Miles. They gave some feedback, adjusted that, and then I went and taught it to Emma and Evie, who were just amazing. I've worked with a lot of actors, who have to dance in TV and film, and a lot of them actually can't, but they could. And so it makes my job so easy, and it was just so fun and playful and wonderful. And this was sort of different. Sometimes the task was to create it and then teach it to them. And so we did that probably across a week, and they got it really quick. That wasn't a problem whatsoever. In fact, they could do more and we could have made it harder. The real trick was trying to figure it out, and the costumes and the stunt part and the shoes and all of that. That was the trickier part. But Emma and Evie got it pretty much down very quickly, 5 days. And they also brought, little nuances from their characters and things like that to it, which was just wonderful. Obviously, it's Enid's choreography. It's her moment of going like, I'm the dance girl, and that's just so wonderful. We had this moment where Thing walks down the arm because Enid's got this, really strong relationship with Thing. So that was something I wanted to put in there straight away. And I also think there's this weird mixture because she's not a specific dancer, the character. She doesn't do one style. She sort of just like puts all of these random things in, and it's a mismatch, and I love that. And then Agnes, obviously, as we know, this is quite a big arc moment for her because she's let go of this version that we've known up to date and sort of is becoming herself now. And there's this really beautiful moment at the end of the dance where Evie, the actress, she goes on the wrong foot, and it's what we kept in because she sees it and then does it, and it's so joyful and real that it got this, beautiful response from her that felt really like her character, and that's actually tapped in at the very end.
I'll be sleeping with one eye open. Don't bother. But you wouldn't see me coming anyway.
Jenna has to essentially learn the cello part, and we specifically set out to make it very virtuosic and impressive because that's kind of what the character would be wanting to do anyway. It takes a lifetime to master the cello, and Jenna's got to come in a couple months and learn how to be credible. I think she had the hardest part.
We're looking at the characters and where their storylines are going and how we can kind of best serve that with music, but it's really stories leading where we go. And like this season was a big Morticia and Wednesday season, and like a lot about their relationship.
Control is often an illusion. Like I let your father believe he's in charge of this family.
Morticia was really present in most of the episodes. I think in season 1, it was more like dropping Wednesday off at school and like Wednesday's story. And this was like way more about the family. I mean, with Gomez too. Morticia and Gomez both had a lot of needle drops that were around their character. So that was definitely the fun kind of shift. Play more with Gomez and Morticia's characters.
The goal is to be able to have just a sonic identity through music that matches the characters. As the characters evolve, the music evolves, but we maintain these nuggets of motif and theme that connects these moments together. If Wednesday is in a particularly dark or brooding place, hopefully her theme can be played dark and brooding. If she's in a more kind of playful, I'm gonna take your skin off and hang it by the flagpole outside, that it can also be kind of playful but dark and weird in that way. And same thing with Enid, where she's more of this optimistic but has a lot of emotional depth, that there's a theme that we tried to capture that. And that, again, that can move different ways, especially as Enid's character evolves, as I think you've seen. There's more depth and certainly some more weight and gravity to her that allows that theme to evolve with it. It still feels very connected to her, all of that, but then she becomes your darker alpha version that can also carry that weight and gravity. And certainly, as they said, Morticia and Gomez have more moments. It's fun to kind of be a little over-the-top romantic and schmaltzy with them, lean into just little hints of kind of Latin influence every now and then, and new characters like Agnes and Isaac become very important this season in their interplay with Wednesday and the Addams family. And so again, trying to have music so it's not just generic music that can be pulled up. All right, now we need moody music, now we need scary music, now we need action music, now we need emotional music. Yes, and to have that thematically connected, I think goes a long way towards making it feel real gravity with the Addams family universe as this has been depicted in Wednesday, rather than just library music that can be put in and be kind of dramatically okay, but misses the actual specific emotional connection of having themes.
It was an idea we figured out in the studio because I didn't know who Evie was, her character at this point. And so I had to read all the scripts, and then I figured out, oh, she goes invisible, and wouldn't that be fun to, loop into the dance? So we came up with a whole lot of ways of doing that, and we represented that in the studio. We would film it, and then I'd stop, and then I'd put a green suit on, and then carry on, so that Tim and Miles and Al realized, oh, this would be invisible. And they loved it. And then we realized that that doesn't actually work in real life. And so we had to really consider the science of how we make those stunts happen. And it ended up being a combination of a few things. That one that we did in the studio where we put the actor in a green suit, but that's really complicated because their hands are in a green suit. If they're holding like Emma's waist, then part of Emma's waist disappears. So it works for some things like getting into the lift or out of the lift. But then we also built a stunt machine that is green, and Emma can like lay on it flat, and we spin that. So we cut in and out of that at the right times. And then we had a dancer of mine in a green suit to step in and replace when we needed to as well. So it was a whole cocktail of consideration and hard because you don't see it there and then. So you're really going, oh, this is going to work. And I think it did.